Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I ain't gonna change. IUIC rejects.
We be getting missing, cause we be on a mission. We be on that stacking bricks that's taller than the ceiling. What the hell is you doing? Watching us gon' get you left. You be hating and you chasing, now you running out of breath. We be shining on the high, cause we be grinding on the low. Where you at and who you with, and tell me where you about to go. What the hell is you doing? Worry about what you doing. All you doing is showing. Get your mind off us and worry about what you doing. Hey bro, I can see your mind touching on our topics. Not me. I can see your nose snooping around our projects. You can't stop this truth, can't slow down this progress. Better repent right now, cause you ain't dropped that project. Real talk, peel off, left him with his grill off. Blaming us cause he done fell off. All in your sins and made him run off. Well, you need to start shooting them goddamn eyeballs. We be swishing over here, fishing over here, using scripts, no bait. You be scrubbing over there, struggling and fake loving all in my face. Yeah, bro, some of these fake cats wanna take our place. Got their eyes all on our plate. You need that milk, stop eating that steak. We getting missing, cause we be on a mission. We be on that stacking bricks that's taller than the ceiling. What the hell is you doing? Watching us gon' get you left. You be hating and you chasing, now you running out of breath. We be shining on the high, cause we be grinding on the low. Where you at and who you with, and tell me where you about to go. What the hell is you doing? What you doing? Worry about what you doing. What you doing? All you doing is showing. Get your mind off us and worry about what you doing.
We recording yet? We live?
Yeah, man, we live.
Okay. How many people we got online?
Two.
Two? All right. Roll with it. We are the Israelites, according to the Bible.
Right.
We are to teach so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that you are the Israelites,
Bring it
according
out.
to the Bible.
That's right.
It's time for us to wake up and to know who we are.
Right.
It's time for us to gather together.
Gather.
White man don't love us.
No love.
Nobody don't love us.
Bring it out.
We gotta love ourselves.
Love
How
ourselves.
we gonna do that? By gathering together.
Bring it out.
Give me Zephaniah, chapter 2, and verse 1.
That's right. Hey, you can't find it, Bishop? It's in the back of it's in the Old Testament at the end somewhere.
I know just what you doing. Stack no bricks, so you fooling. Never congregating like a student. You be homeschooling. You don't know your purpose. You belong in churches. Chill on most high in Christ blessed, but never put no work in. We be in the trenches, always on a mission. For the 12 scattered abroad, yeah, we go the distance. It's an exhortation. Stop living in the matrix. You be waiting on the kingdom, do nothing to take it. Just face it. Oppressing, you complacent. Not by observation, but waking up the nation. What the hell is you doing?
Your activism needs to be about keeping these commandments.
This is not what I expected out of them. The true Bible, the book of our fathers.
Right. The Most High has given us guidance on what we need to do.
It's Officer Eli. It's Officer Nashon. Officer Ezekiel.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless. Good to be with you on another week concerning the show here. I am Captain Dakar. We're able to have y'all with us tonight, the Bible Book of Our Fathers. I got my officers to my right.
Officer Ezekiel.
Officer Nashon. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
Officer Ehud. Shalom.
Officer Eliakim. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom Israel. You can see we on deck today. We on deck. It's good to be here. It's good to be back with the family.
That's right.
Good to see you, brothers. as we know that the Sabbath is starting to come in here. But the fact of the matter is, it gives us a chance and opportunity to come back on the Bible Book of our fathers and to be able to talk about a couple of things.
That's right.
And, here's the thing, though, officer. We all got family, right?
That's right.
For what it's worth, we all got family. We one big family ourselves. Mm-hmm. But I like to kind of put a small little matter to it because, let me put it this way. Family should matter, right?
Right.
We all agree family should matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, okay. All right, we're going to talk about it then because family does matter. And
you got to have that family structure
in
the house.
I'm telling you, you own to it already, officer. Mm-hmm. And, coming into Israel myself, just start off this way and kind of talk about it. I came from a large family. I really did. It was over 11 of us. And we would play in the neighborhood, a local neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It'd be families they had 7 children. I played with the young. They was played with another family. They had 8 siblings. Back then, you just had a lot of family. You had huge family Israel. So even such now. But one of the things that mattered when we came up, personally, myself, and we came up, and you say there was structure, there was discipline, because the way things were, we didn't have all what we have now in terms of the things that we have. But it was more, you had less, but you done more with what you had. Mm-hmm. And that structure meant a lot to us. It did. It brought in respect. It brought discipline, those things that the body needs today. And when we look at things, sometimes we kind of look back on them, but those things was helpful to our community back then. And I just want to let you know that structure and discipline that they had already provided for us back then, that thing was helpful. So we get going, let's get the disclaimer out of the way.
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
So, thank you, officer. I wrote down a couple of things. I want to kind of touch on it. It just goes into a little bit of how things were in the 60s.
Right.
So when I came up in the late 60s, we ourselves, our community was everybody it was all our people. We was not integrated in with the other nations. Mm-hmm. We was going to school among ourselves.
Right.
So all the teachers was black.
Right. Mm-hmm. So in other words, Cap, you got to see that divide.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was on the other side of it, and I'm gonna tell you, it was kind of a little shock to go into school with them because I don't think none of us were ready. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
It was something different,
right? Cap, can I ask you, was it intimidating when you first? I'm just curious.
What you talk about, we wasn't ready. Now, what you call intimidating, I think that it was adjustment for us because that period, we were, it was 7, 8, 9-year-old kids. It's kind of
different.
It was different.
Mm-hmm.
We went to school with each other. We played with each other. All our teachers was black. The principal was black. Mm-hmm. Then they started bringing us around them. We weren't ready for it. I just don't know another way of trying to explain it.
Right.
But I think that, we got to see how things were on that side. You know what I mean? In terms like the teachers know your parents. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you didn't get away with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the teachers, some lived close by, some didn't perhaps, but, they knew us. You know what I'm saying? And and that coming in that kind of an upbringing was an upbringing where, our parents was, we had them in the house. Everybody, when you go to one of your friends' house, you got to see their mom and dad. Mm-hmm. You go to another friend's house, you got to see their mom and dad. Mm-hmm. Everybody, it was a couple of, but for the most part, everybody's parents was there. Mm-hmm. So that's what I was wanting to touch on. And it was that we as a people, when I go back into the days that we came up, I noticed that there was a lot of structures for our families. And we was trying to establish ourselves. And one of the things that we was trying to do, when our parents was bringing us up, they kind of had set structure for us. And so let's see what the Bible says. I'm going to touch on this. Give me that in Deuteronomy 6 and 24 and 25.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 24. And the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes.
So we had parents. Now the truth of the matter is now the Lord is instructing us. And they gave us the guidance based on best what they could do with us. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have this history like what we have. But they were trying to do their best in trying to, bring forth a family that really mattered at that particular time. Read.
To fear the Lord our God. For our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is at this day.
Right. Even back then, the parents was guiding us best they could. I'm touching on it because I seen that they had rules, they had things that they was bringing us along, and they had structure, they had discipline, and we had respect for them. Read on.
And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments.
And now we have the chance to do the Lord's commandments. And now we're going to go and we want to touch on some of our history and the family structure that we always had. We always had family structure. The Most High loves family Israel. And to see some of us and how we conducting ourselves, we're bringing shame to our Father's house.
Right.
I'm telling you that we have to really take and understand that we was given a lot, and so therefore a lot expected of us. So we need to be mindful, Israel. Read that again.
And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he hath commanded us.
As he has commanded us. So being that we're coming up in the inner cities in the late 60s, as I said, we had our own community. We had our own schools. We had things that we was doing as a people. And for us, we was content. And we played marbles. For some of y'all don't know what that game is. We played them, but we had fun. It wasn't, you would go from like one block to another block, and you go get two guys that you run around with, like Maurice and James, some first names, and we'd just walk, and we'd fly kites, whatever the case may be. But what it was that we would just, it was our community, and we had blocks and blocks of that community. And everybody knew who you were. Like they would say, that's so-and-so's son there. That's so-and-so's daughter. It wasn't a lot that was given, that was done that you didn't know. And if you got in trouble, oftentimes your neighbor will have something to say to you. And even we're going to show you in the video that this one brother says exactly, and it's just confounding me, because I'm like, he's talking about my neighborhood when I was coming up. And he's talking about his neighborhood in PA. But the same neighborhood he had is the same one I had, because on that side there was not a lot of we had our own community, and we had a lot of things that we was doing back then.
So in other words, during that time, you were taught you were taught from a young age how a family was supposed to be structured. Okay, how community is supposed to be. Okay, and it's void today. Of showing. We don't have those examples. We have them, but all people in the world, they don't have those examples today,
right,
of what a family or what a community is supposed to be.
That's you're right though. Also, that's what has happened. We've gotten away from that template of how we done things, and those things where discipline and respect and structure, those things help guide those families. And back then you would look and say, well, yeah, y'all didn't have this, or yeah, but you know what? We might have been on the slow side or on the post side. But the fact of the matter is that we had enough fear and reverence for the things that was taught to us to help us to get to where we're trying to go. And like now, you can see and easily see that we'll touch on that part about some of what we're dealing with today and how things were structured in. There's a video I want you to play.
So Kat, real quick. So back then, you actually had what? You had a community. You had people that actually cared about each other, that knew each other. Nowadays, people just living next to each other. They don't even know each other. They don't know each other's kids. They don't know nothing about them. Matter of fact, they ready to curse them out at the drop of a dime.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, tell them talking about.
I can't stand that neighbor. I can't stand. Always looking out his window.
Old Bebe's kids, huh? Hey, Kat, but just like you were saying, in verse 24, it says, "For our good always." So like you said, even though a lot of us maybe was on the low end of the city, we was poor, we didn't have that much as an individual or an individual household. Us being together as a neighborhood, as a community, it was always for our good. We all, like you said, you looked out for your neighbor's kids, even though y'all might not have been related, y'all was still a community. You see what I'm saying? So it says for our good always. You still had that self esteem built up with seeing your own people, look out for you. Like you said, we wasn't no solo dolo.
Yeah, I know, Cap. We was talking earlier today, yesterday or something like that.
Okay.
And remember how we was talking about, like, your grandmother, your mother would send you to your neighbor down the street.
Yeah. Hold it. Don't grab it. Don't grab it. I know where you're going.
Okay.
I'm gonna help you out.
Yeah.
Hey, officer, let me have that video. If I can. It's called "The 1950s Inner City Black Communities Was Strong." And what he's talking about here, and that's so important that he talks about how we were as a people. I was trying to touch on it. He touches on it too, but we'll stop him as he goes throughout. We'll stop him as he moves. Let him play.
In South Philadelphia, we didn't realize it was segregated. All we knew is that our neighborhood was all black, and we weren't even that conscious of color because the people who owned the store down the street were black, the tailor, the restaurant owners, the undertaker, everybody in the neighborhood, and it was a very small street, everybody worked, blue collar, essentially, very close-knit neighborhood. Everyone had over 4 children. We played in the streets together.
Stop right there. And if you didn't pick up on it, he said everybody had over 4 children. Get me a scripture, Officer 126. No, Genesis chapter 1. I think I want to start it.
And he also said the store owners were black.
And that's the whole thing about it, because
the mortician was black.
Right. The school teacher was black.
School teacher was black. Mm-hmm. Something happened.
The superintendent was black.
What happened?
And
because it's not like that today.
Right, it's not. And I'm telling you, when family mattered to us, it's when we was together as a community. And the Most High is trying to show us that we have to build this community back. We among ourselves. And I want to make sure we understand that, because we're the one that have to do the work of the Most High. And I'm telling you, it's vital. And not only that, everybody cannot help us to do this building. This building is only for Israel. I want to put that disclaimer out. Read Genesis 1, 27, 28.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 27.
Yeah.
So God created man in his own image.
Mm-hmm.
In the image of God created he him.
Mm-hmm.
Male and female.
So he established these families. Read on.
Created he them. And God blessed them.
Mm-hmm.
And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
So now he says that he wants to increase and multiply. And the brother was saying that, everybody had over 4 children.
At least 4 children.
At least 4 children. They understood. Wasn't nobody complaining about, I wanted a career first. Wasn't nobody complaining about, who's going to help me with these children. They understood their roles. They understood their purpose. They understood what it was to be a woman.
Mm.
They understood what it meant to be a man. And a lot of brothers back then in the late 50s and 60s, they wasn't so much as educated, but they knew what their responsibility was. They had to take care of their families. They didn't go off to the left. And we're going to touch on that. Are you finished with 28?
No, sir.
Read it again.
And God blessed them.
Mm-hmm.
And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
This is what the Most High is about. He's about family. And we got to understand that. And I'm not saying that we don't, but what I'm saying is that it comes with other things that we have to be able to come up in our standard, in respect, in being structured. Yes, we have the scriptures, but we have to abide. A lot of us have lost out in things that matters in the family. And as we go along, we're going to see that brothers and sisters are moving away from the families. Right. They're moving on to their own.
It's evident, Cap. It's evident, and you can see it in our communities right now that our people have moved away from the structure that you've been talking about, the structure that you were raised up with. You know, it's evident in our communities, and you know, apparently we need to come back to that thing.
Right.
Go ahead, Cap.
Right. Like Cap saying, God is letting us know that in verse 28. He's saying, "Be fruitful and multiply."
Mm-hmm.
The only way for you to be fruitful is to multiply. The only way we can be successful, we can be fruitful. What? You have to bring forth children. You have to bring forth your nation. God is letting us know. You on point, Cap. He's letting you know.
And we can understand that even during these times, all our people wasn't necessarily living according to the Bible,
right? No doubt.
But they at least knew that bring forth children. You marry and you bring forth children, okay? And you don't say, "No, I'm gonna put my let me put my let me get my career together first before I have children." They said, "No, when I get married, the next step for me to have children." Right? They knew that. Mm-hmm. It was in them spiritually.
Right. Give me that in Philippians 4:4. See if I left anything off of there.
The book of Philippians, chapter 4 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say, rejoice.
Read on.
Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication.
Here we go.
With thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus.
Is there a part in there talking about whatsoever things are just? Is that on down? Is that above that?
Yes.
Where's that?
Everything are just. Verse
8.
8. Read verse 8.
Verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, brethren,
mm-hmm.
whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
That's going back to your point. They had what they had, but they knew that some things were just. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Some things was just right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Some mm-hmm. things were just pure. Mm-hmm. They didn't have it all, but they had something in them where they had a sense of, I have to take care of my children. Mm-hmm. That was a lot. That was a lot. You got mm-hmm. folks today that won't even take care of their children. Mm-hmm. What the hell is this? But I'm telling you, they knew to think on some things that are, read it, that bottom part again.
If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things.
That's 7 or 8.
That's the bottom of 8.
That's the bottom of 8. Okay, that's all right. That's the point. That's the point. But what we got today, give me some Judges. Give me some Judges 21-25. This is what we got today. I didn't want to get fast, but I don't want to go through here like this, but I just want to touch on it because folks got to know that we're about family, and it does matter. Read that.
Judges chapter 21, verse 25.
Uh-huh.
In these days,
read.
There was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes.
And that's what you have today. You got a lot of people doing what they want to do. They want to do their own thing. Let's go back to the video. Let it play.
Let's start it back a little bit.
Store down the street with Black, the tailor, the restaurant owners, the undertaker, everybody in the neighborhood, and it was a very small street. Everybody worked, blue collar, essentially. Very close-knit neighborhood. Everyone had over 4 children. We played in the streets together. On Saturday morning, our parents came out, and the hucksters came around, and our parents purchased things. We had to go buy ice because there were no refrigerators then. We had a coal stove, so the younger kids were responsible for putting wood and coal into the stove and keeping
Stop
it
right
going.
there. Listen what he said. You got to pick up on this. He's telling you that he said, and the younger children was responsible. He said you had a coal stove. He said they was responsible. They knew they had tasks. They knew they had chores. What no kids laying around like, what are you doing? I'm just chilling. I want to go Chuck E. Cheese. Wasn't no stuff like that. Wasn't nothing going on like that. Kids wasn't laying around lounging around.
Right.
Playing video
Everybody was
games.
industrious. We was laborers. They was putting us to task. They was putting our tail to work. You know, you didn't come home. You know, it's inner city. I had some rural living coming up and all that stuff, man. They was putting us to work. I'm telling you, when I say work, we had fireplaces and stuff. Y'all go over there and hit the wall and stuff like that. We had to cut wood. We had to get that wood ready. If you wanted to stay warm, that's what he's talking about.
Right.
He's bringing it out. It was hard, but it was educational. You know what I mean? It was helpful.
It built some values in you.
It did, because you was part of that unit. You was part of that family.
Work ethic.
Yes, you was part of that thing. So he was telling you. That's why it talks about putting our kids to work. You have to, okay, hold that. Get 42 of Sirach in verse 8. I just touch on it. We'll move on.
Sirach, chapter 42, verse 8. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish, and the extreme age that contendeth with those that are young.
Just drop down to No.
You want the labor?
Also, real quick,
yeah, that labor's one.
I got Sirach 33, verse 27.
That's what. Okay, there it is. That's what I want.
Send him to labor, that he be not idle.
Right, because they wouldn't allow us to just lounge around in the house. They was like, hey, if it was a particular matter, hey, raking leaves, something, you got to go out there. You had to go put in that work.
Cut the grass.
Yeah, and that thing was like, everybody had to do their parts. I can remember my sister, they would be in there. They would have to go in there and help mom cook. They would have to go in there. They couldn't stand around and stuff like that, walk around with little Barbie dolls and stuff. That stuff wasn't happening. They had to work. They had to put in work. We had to help do the work that we was called to do and help that family unit.
Also, Cap, one thing I wanted to touch on. I like the fact of what he said about. He said they didn't even know that their community was segregated.
Right.
That thing was heavy right there. Can we get Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26? Because the Most High God said that we were a separate people and we were supposed to be like that. You read in Philippians 4 and 8 that all things of the Bible or the scriptures is pure. So they didn't even know that, but it's just heavy that for the fact that he said, we didn't even know we was segregated. We was fine. We was fine without being around the other nations. Go ahead, read that.
Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy.
That's the children of Israel. You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you are the holy ones unto the Lord. Read on.
And have severed you.
And have did what?
Severed you.
And have separated you.
From other people.
From the other nations. You know what I mean? You know how good they was living? They said they had black grocery stores. They had black-owned this, black morticians, black-owned that. You know what I mean? We were doing fine without the other nations, and that's what we have to come back to. Pretty much is what I'm saying. We got to come back to those structures.
And what that teaches generational wealth.
Right.
When they grow up as a little kid, seeing those grocery stores owned by people that look like, what you think they're gonna do? I want to do that.
You can aspire to that instead of aspiring to be one of these nigga rappers or somebody that can shoot a basketball or run a football. That's all our children is aspiring. They're not aspiring to own their own grocery stores, to own their own busing company, things that they're not aspiring to those things.
All these communities was all over the place. Even Black Wall Street down in Tulsa. All these places, even in Greensboro, all these places was already established where we had our own communities, how we was building our own nation, how we was sowing into our own people. All that stuff was already there. We was already building. That's part of the problem down there when they came against Tulsa down there, because they seen them doing that work among themselves.
Right.
They didn't need them. You're absolutely right. Let the video play.
Because there were no refrigerators then, we had a coal stove, so the younger kids were responsible for putting wood and coal into the stove and keeping it going. And the level of interest in education was just profound. I mean, even to this day, I don't think I've ever had such a positive educational experience that I did in my first 6 years.
Did y'all hear what he said?
I know,
The level of interest The level of interest in education was profound, meaning everybody wanted to go to school. You can't find that in none of these schools nowadays. They cutting class, smoking weed like it ain't nothing.
You're right, though, officer. He tells you have to let it unfold. And I know you want to grab onto it, but he tells what it does when your own people can inspire you to do things. When your own people help you, you know what I mean? You know, it was kind of one of those things where nobody got left. You know what I mean?
Right,
Everybody got the help they needed. And he's going to talk about how that education was for us. And when we got the help that we needed, our teachers, our superintendents, our parents, we the children, when we all worked as one, things began to prosper. And he's talking about that. Go ahead, let it play.
It was just profound. I mean, even to this day, I don't think I've ever had such a positive educational experience than I did in my first 6 years, because school was an integral part of the community. We had a black superintendent, black principal, all the teachers were black. Many of them didn't live in the neighborhood either. Contrary to popular belief, they were middle-income people who lived elsewhere. But their hearts and their souls were into those kids. I remember that third grade and fourth grade plays were always conducted in the evenings so that parents could attend. And an auditorium that seated maybe 400, 500 people was standing room only for a third and fourth grade play. Up until 1959, 78% of all black families
Pause right there. Did y'all hear that? Did I cut it off too soon? Back it up, play it again.
Back it up, play it a little bit more.
Back it up, play it again. I got excited.
Was standing room only for a third and fourth grade play. Up until 1959, 78% of all black families had a man and a woman in them.
Pause right there.
78%.
Mark that. Mark that down. Somebody write it down. Israel, write it down. Write it at 78%. We're going to come back to this number later on in the show. But I want you to mark it down. He says it here, 78%. We were not forsaking our children. The women were not like running from their responsibilities. They was coming together. They was marrying. There was husband and wife, as it ought to be. They was establishing because they already knew the foundation of what our community and what our nation was. Like he said, they had a hunger for the souls of the people of the Most High, of that community. They love helping out their own people.
Even, and like he said, even if they didn't live in the community, if they lived in the middle class community, they still had that love to want to go back and help their people, rise their people, teach their people. Okay,
right? Because they was the only one that can deal with. They dealt with their nephews, they nieces, their sons, their daughters, and that's one of the issues in education today. They put these labels on our children, ADHD and academic deficient, whatever the case may be. No, it's not. That's not the case. It's just you don't supposed to be. You can't teach our children.
Right. So we should be able to teach our own children. I think.
Captain, and the modern day feminist and womanist movement will have our sisters retorting, regurgitating rhetoric like, well, back then they weren't educated. Back then they didn't have the resources. They didn't think like us. And evidently we had a little bit more sense then because our households were more in order back then.
So that's a question you got to ask yourself. If in 1959, in the 60s, we were doing well, we were interested in school and this, that, and this, well, what happened? That's a question that our people should be asking. What changed? Eliakim touched on feminist movement, all these devices or drugs and guns, all that stuff coming into our community, changing the diameter, the narrative and diameter of our communities. You know what I mean? And now you see the results on it on these rap videos. This is all they want to talk about.
And even then, we was challenged back then. We had problems, and he's going to touch on the time. We wasn't perfect. We wasn't doing everything right. But there was a standard that we had, and we upheld that standard. Let it play on.
It's a fact. Teen pregnancy was looked down upon. Sexual activity among kids, everyone bragged about it, no one did it. And but if someone became pregnant,
now it's reversed.
Basically it was. Okay, let me just take a step back. You wasn't in no position to be talking to no girl like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you played with people in your community, but you wasn't like, yo, girl, what's your name? You know what I mean? You wasn't rolling like that. You could say that, but the point I'm making is that you weren't making those kind of advances toward her. You know what I mean? Because we knew if you was trying to deal with a woman, then you talking about trying to marry somebody. Mm-hmm. And we're like, hey, I'm 15 years old. I can't be trying, I'm not going to marry her. You know what I mean? I got to go to school. I need education. You see the point? Mm-hmm. Nobody was like that. That's why he was saying, you talk like, yeah, I've been around the block, G. You ain't done nothing. You just talking like the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Talk about smell my hands. Man, get up somewhere, sit down. What are you talking about? You ain't wash your hand in 4 weeks. Man, you crazy. Okay, let it play.
If there was an aunt in the South, they would go there so that the moral standards and ethical standards for people living in those communities was extremely high. It had little to
back it up a little bit.
Yeah, back it up a little bit.
Yeah, I want that. Yeah, back it up.
But if someone became pregnant, if there was an aunt in the South, they would go there so that the moral standards and ethical standards for people living in those communities was extremely high. It had little to do with your income. Many of us were poor without realizing that we were poor. During the war years, I thought everyone had one pair of shoes. Today, I have a lot of shoes. Because of those early experiences. You put cardboard in your shoes when your soles were worn out. You never went to your mother and said, Mom, my shoes need to be replaced or fixed. You just knew that the money wasn't there for that. So you got the thickest piece of cardboard you can find and put it in your shoes. And if it didn't rain, you could last but 2 days.
And I know y'all probably listening like, man, they had it bad. He's telling you his upbringing, but he's smiling about how things was conducted. You didn't go to him because why? They were trying to keep a roof over your head. They're trying to put food on the table. He knew what his parents was trying to do. They was trying to help him. They were trying to raise him up. He knew that. He knew he had to make some sacrifices.
The difference is, Cap, nowadays our children are selfish as hell. Because now they don't care how poor the mom is or the father if the father's in the house. They can care less. They want them Jordans. They want the top-notch dress code, this, that. They can care less. He talking about, hey, we're the strongest cardboard at, so because I know we ain't got it right now. Go ahead.
I was going to back you up. And you know what, officer? Okay, they can go to the parents, like today, they'll go to the parents, and the parents might not have it, but they'll break their neck to make sure they get it to them. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? They'll break their neck to make sure whatever they child asking for, that they get it for them. That's the difference between back then and today. Back then, he was saying, "Hey, we wouldn't go to the parent because we knew they ain't have it." Okay, that's not. Now it's reversed today.
But also the reason why, because he mentioned it in the video. He said that the standards were high, but what in moral standards, in ethical standards. It wasn't about money. He said it had little to do with money. So that's letting you know where they standard was at. It wasn't about the money, like you said. It was about getting the education, me knowing about my people, me bettering my people. It wasn't about, okay, let me get the most expensive shoes that's out right now. Everything just basically ass backwards right now.
So let it play. It's something else I think I wanted to pick up on. I think he's headed toward. Let it play.
Discipline was in the community. I mean, you didn't speak back to an adult. The thought of a
back it up a little bit. This is the part right here. This is what
the money wasn't there for that. So you got the thickest piece of cardboard you can find and put it in your shoes. And if it didn't rain, you could last but 2 days. The discipline was in the community. I mean, you didn't speak back to an adult. The thought of an elderly person being disrespected was just unheard of.
Pause right there. Listen to what he said. That's the thing that y'all were talking about purchasing, but the heavy part of it is that everybody knew, or you had some sense of you know, you parents, you run into somebody at the local corner store or something like that. You run into them, and you see the person perhaps you played with, you are playing with, and he's with his parents. It was always, how you doing, Mr. Johnson? How you doing, Mr. Johnson? Hey, how you doing? You know, your mom and sister. You like, yes, ma'am. It was all cordial. It was all respectful. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I understand. Yes, ma'am. I let her know. Yes, ma'am. I let mama know. Okay. We was always respectful. Mm-hmm. These disrespectful kids these days, and then you sitting over there trying to do your best to get them to Jordan. They bad as hell. You know they are. And then you giving them something that you can't even afford. It don't make no sense. And I'm telling you, give me Hebrews 13 and 17.
Hey Cap, after you get that, can I play this video?
Yeah.
That's going to depict the change.
You want it now? You want it now?
Yeah, if we can. Hey, I just put a video up there. Oh, no, go ahead, Cap. They saying give 1 second.
Right. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Obey them that have the rule over you.
And so we had parents. You have elders in this gospel. And I'm telling you, listen, please, y'all, be more respectful than what you are. Be respectful. I'm telling you. You think we can't see it? We can see it. And I'm telling you, it's not a good look. We got elders in this gospel. Even for myself, I know to be more respectful. And I'm telling you, we have to be. Read on.
And submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls.
And that's the matter right here. They're trying to help us to enter into our rest. Our parents was doing the best they could with what they had. You know, so what, you had to walk around with some shoes with a little bit of cardboard, and you're going to be all right.
Right.
You're going to be all right. But it sure feel good in this house tonight. It's warm in here. It's better than being outside on the side of the road. I got my belly a little packed. I feel a little good in my stomach. I don't know what that chiming is. Y'all, can we get that stop on the hoof? You know. Read on.
As they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief.
And that's what it is. The elders, they give an account for us. And we should not make things burdensome for them. We should make things easier. That's what I was saying earlier. You know, we need not bring shame to our Father's house. It don't make no sense. They shouldn't have to chastise us over the things that we ought to know. We ought to know our place.
Right.
And they having to correct us like that. Don't make no doggone sense. You know, who raised you? I'm telling you. Family does matter. Let's go back. Okay, you got something?
Yeah, I just wanted to play that video before we leave the point of over the years. It's a little comedy video. Over the years, how the mindset of our children have changed. And they become more selfish, not willing to do the responsibilities that they must do around the house. You know, I just wanted to show this video just depicting a little visual of what we discussing. Y'all got it, IT? Yeah. All right, Cap.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, I tell you what. Was you done with that? You finished reading that?
No, sir.
All right, finish reading that.
For that is unprofitable for you.
That's unprofitable for us, even with our elders, or back then, or even now with our own parents. You know, he was talking about teenage pregnancy a while ago, and he was talking about that how the young lady would be sent south, and I know about those things, and she would come down there and stuff like that. Be like, who's that down there? We never know her, because she sticks out in the neighborhood, not from her stomach only, but she was somebody that knew that came in, and just like that, she came in, and once she had the child, she would go back to the state that she was that she came from, or went back up north, for an example. And so you would have those things. But I'm telling you that when it comes to things like that, teenage pregnancy and stuff like that, and, you know, he said that it was a standard. Those standards are still applied today. We have not lost them. Give me I want you to give me a definition of a shotgun wedding. Can I get a definition of a shotgun marriage? Shotgun marriage. Yes. I think shotgun marriage. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hold that. Yeah, there you go. Hold that right there. Let me prep it. Because what it is that he was talking about the morals that they had. It was a shame that a woman, a child would bring a son, as the scripture says, into a father's house. And what you would have a lot of times is that you would have where things like shotgun weddings would happen. You say, "Oh man, y'all, it's crazy. You can't make nobody marry nobody." That's let them do what they want to do. That's your mindset. That's that craziness they done put in our people. That's not what this is about. Can you imagine that you don't think there was things such as a shotgun wedding? Let's see what a shotgun wedding definition is.
Shotgun marriage,
Mm-hmm.
an enforced or hurried wedding, especially because the bride is pregnant.
Boom. There it is right there. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of shotgun weddings going on. You know, there are. There's a lot of shotgun weddings. And you said, I never heard of one. And I'm going to help you out. You got 5 days to get your papers. That's a shotgun wedding. I just wanted to let you know there's a lot of shotgun weddings out there today. You got 5 days to get yourself right. Get them papers in here. Read that again.
An enforced or hurried wedding.
Because you done sat there and dealt with the sister.
Especially because the bride is pregnant.
Now you done humbled her. That's a shotgun wedding. You got 5 days to get them papers. You say you never heard of a shotgun wedding? Yeah, you have. It happen all the time. Sure do. You just don't know it.
That's we kind of left the point, y'all. I mean, let's Cap don't mind.
No, let's go.
You want to play it?
Yeah, go ahead, play it. That's fine.
All right, go again. This is the video just depicting showing the over the years the selfishness of our children nowadays. Go ahead, play it. Where's the sound? So let's say kids born in the 80s. Look. He doing the dishes, listening to music.
Kids born in the 90s.
As the years go on.
Kids born in the 2000s.
I didn't do this.
All right, that's enough. You can cut it. I was just showing over the years how you see how our kids just lost all self of work ethic and just doing their responsibilities as children.
What you're supposed to do as children.
Doing what you're supposed to do around the house. Help maintain the house. You know what I mean?
Right. That was just one of the chores they probably had.
Right. That's just
they
one.
Used to it.
Before Kat was mentioning, or like the guy said, you got to go get the ice for the fridge. You know what I mean? You got to have things ready, and they took pride in that thing.
Back in the days, you had a big dinner, everybody in the family ate, and it was your turn to do the dishes. You got a great feel out of that thing once you get done.
Right.
You enjoy that thing. Like, yeah, I'm finished.
You know what I mean? I help my family build.
Right.
But that's it, Cal. I just wanted to, bring a little humor to it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If you were married back then, that was an alarming rate of 78% of a man and a woman. What came in to destroy that way of life? It was a trap. What was wrong with black teachers or black superintendents or black tailors or black grocery store owners that guided you and helped discipline you? What was, and that cared about you and your community and your nation of your people? What happened to us as a nation of people? You was looking on the other side talking about, let's see what we can do. And I know other things came in. And at that time, there was, for our people, it was very difficult. And, things began to be where we begin to lose that family structure. And so as the 60s begin to come and the 70s begin to go and things begin to change, and I think it was that 25-year period. It's 25 years. It was a big drop-off in that 25 years. Drop that video. Let's go to the next video. No, past that. Let's play that one. This is, let's set it up. This is 1986. This is a special report. It's called The Vanishing Black Family. And I want you to keep in mind, remember now, what has happened. That's what the officers want to touch on. What has happened that caused us to where we had structure, we had discipline, we had unity, we had each other, and we was building. And I want to show you, what we want to show you at this point is what happened. There's some of the things begin to happen to us as a people. And I know you brothers about to jump
It's
in.
called The Vanishing Black Family. That thing is, oh my goodness, that's heavy right there. The Vanishing Black Family.
Play it.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married?
Y'all don't see, they laughing at it.
And not only that, that one girl that raised her hand said she'd like to be married to her baby's daddy. She looked like she was 15.
She like she was young.
Yeah, they all.
What do you call it?
But really young.
Yeah.
It looked like she was like peer pressure. That's what it reminded me of, peer pressure to follow the crowd. The rest of them didn't have their hand up. She rolls her hand like, you know, it was like
and
peer
they
pressure.
laugh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They laugh like, you stupid.
Play it. Go back a little bit and play it again.
Go back.
None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
Wait a minute. Wait a
hold
minute.
on.
Earlier, the brother in the video said the households had 4 or more. Cap said he had 11 in his household. What? She talking about one baby. It's a lot of responsibility and a husband.
She said it's a lot of responsibility. So don't you want somebody to help you with the responsibility of raising a child?
1 Timothy 5:14. Let's start there, officer.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5, verse 14.
Uh-huh.
I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Read that again.
I will therefore that the younger women marry.
So these sisters right here saying that they don't want to marry, he asked them to their baby's father. They all began to shrug their shoulders like, you know, that nigga. But the point of it is that then he comes behind it and says that, don't y'all want to be married? You know, he put that question to them, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe not to him, but don't you want to be married? Don't you want to be a part of the right unit? Don't you want to establish a family? Don't you want to see your own people grow as a nation? He's asking them that. He put them those questions to them.
You know what I see? I'm not sure if that's an Edomite hosting or not. It sound like one, but it seemed like he kind of doing a survey. Like, yeah, we got these niggas.
All that. It goes in all that, Officer Nashawn. There's no doubt about it. Read that again.
I will therefore that the younger women marry,
not have children. Get you a husband first. That's what we was doing. We was establishing families. You had things done right. You found yourself on the other side of the shotgun wedding. I'm telling you, nobody's playing. The family did matter.
Right.
But Kat, that's the thing, because obviously all of them having sex. They got babies, so they're having sex, but they don't want marriage. Like that's what I'm saying. This society is flipped the whole script on how we build our families now. Now you want to do the fornication. You want to do the sin, but not the responsibility. Come on.
All right, read it one more time. Finish it up.
I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children,
have children. Now, like you said, she's talking about the one. These women back then, like you said, the brother said they had more than 4 kids. They had 5 kids. Some families had 7 kids. Wasn't nobody complaining. They wasn't counting numbers. That's it. I'm at my limit now. They wasn't rolling like that. Read on.
Guide the house. Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Go ahead, officer.
Let me get Titus 2 and 3 back cap up, because this is part of what happened with the young sisters right here. Read that.
Titus chapter 2 verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things.
So they weren't taught those good things by the aged sisters. Okay, that's why they're in the situation they're in now. A teen pregnancy. Read on.
That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children.
So they wasn't taught those things. Okay, to love, to meet a man, then learn to love that man, then y'all bring forth children, and you love your children. Read.
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good.
They supposed to be the keepers at home. It's their responsibility to guide the house. Right. Read on.
Obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed.
So they don't even want the man in the house. Okay, they don't want to. They don't want to. Why? Because they weren't taught that. They don't want to be submissive to a man.
Right.
That's basically what it's going into.
Officer, ask the average Christian woman if they believe they're supposed to be keepers at home. Straight out the Bible. Watch how many of them. Well.
Right.
Didn't a man write that?
let the video play. There's more to it, brothers.
Child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. It's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because
you didn't want the commitment.
I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so it really.
What's the point?
Male figures are not substantially important in the family.
Wow. Can't make this up.
And you know what, Cap? Hey, Cap. These same sisters will be if it does get too hard, they'll kill those babies. They just go, you know what? I got pregnant, but hey, abortion clinic.
The one
sisters.
Said, I don't want no man holding me down. Hey, you ain't mind him holding you down when you got that baby in your arms now.
Right.
You ain't care then. Now you want to care.
Let it play.
I ain't thinking about holding up for no sex, my man. If a girl, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. I'm not gonna.
Listen how he runs from the responsibility. He's running from the responsibility. He said that that's hers. I also you brought it out. I'm telling you, people gonna have to give an account for what they do with these babies. I leave it alone. I heard what you said, and it's that kind of mindset that he has, that these women are messing with. They don't value themselves.
Right.
There's no value to them
because he's supposed to be the leader. Why would they want to follow someone with this type of mindset? Why would you want to follow that? And now you can kind of see why those sisters are saying what they're saying. And I'm not justifying, but it's the truth. If the man is supposed to be the leader of the house and he talking like this dude right here, then why would you want to follow that? I don't want no man holding me down. That's what she said. What she mentioned, I don't want no type of nigga like this holding me down.
Right.
Because he's just going to do her dirty anyway.
Right.
Pump her with babies and get up out of there.
So, Sirach 36:25.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36, and verse 25. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession.
That's how he's supposed to be dealing with the sisters. That's how we're supposed to do Israel. We're supposed to deal with them just. That's where you get up to that 78%, where you dealing with the woman that you dealing with. You're dealing with her right. But we got a lot more to say though, Israel. What we're gonna do? We coming up on our break right here, but we will be back. Hey, hold on. We'll be right back with you, Israel. Most High in Christ bless.
magic and its history as the art of deception through misinformation, the power of suggestion, propaganda, popular persuasions, mass hypnosis, has blossomed on the fertile grounds of ignorance. Throughout the history of slavery in America, slaves were prohibited from reading and writing, making slaves vulnerable to indoctrination and false teachings. Moreover, this was not enough for them that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those who great plagues called they peace. Through enchantments, magic spells, or the repetition of suggestion of misinformation, intended to deceive and enhanced by the use of temporary and permanent props. Disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanness. Wizards and witches are nothing more than individuals who create tools, devices, and/or inventions intended to deceive. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies and afflictions. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Your sorcerers is to be defined and noted as a learned practitioner who uses those devices only to contribute to the established deception. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, but now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Last but not least, the acolytes. What would magic be without those casual performers of whom the seed of deceit has taken root? Howbeit for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of God, given heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore deceit, despising holiness. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Us fight for our people and for the sanctuary. We're fighting for the hearts and minds of our people that do not yet know who they are. But we are their champions. We are their superheroes, so to speak. Believe that. We're serious. Ain't no laughter. We ain't got time for shucking and jiving. We got issues going on with the nation of Israel. Our young men are so starved for leaders. And the mother recognizes that we have no stars, that we have no leaders, that we have no superheroes. And because of that absence of an image, all kinds of psychological destruction has permeated the brains of our people.
To be honest with you, pay attention. Sons, help, God!
Yeah. Us against the world, want what we deserve. War against our soul, it's a God we serve. Yeah. Us against the world, us against the world. Working for that kingdom come, no time to observe. Us against the world, dragging rock we heard. Ain't no stopping in, 7,000 no reserve. Yeah. Us against the world, us against the world. Us against the world, us against the world.
Us against the world, overcoming all the odds. though. Hey, salute to the God and the captain of the host. The angels is cutthroat. It's a war for your soul. Army of the living God. They fear some order. They see the formation with boots on the ground.
Hey, all praise to the Most High. Hey, we was touching on that video. That was an excellent video. There's a lot to it. If you get a chance, get that video. There's a lot in it. It's a lot more to it, and you can use it. You can use that other one, the inner city, the black community, the vanishing way of black families. You can use those videos, and they'll be able to help us assess ourselves and be able to see where we are. Give me that in Jeremiah chapter 2 and 21. Because now we want to see what has happened to us, what has happened to us. And so us and the brothers, we're going to talk about that.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine.
In the beginning, how we was established, how we were as a people, how we are as a nation, and even such as we're coming back and reasserting and establishing ourselves now, this day, as the nation, the top nation. Read.
Holy, a right seed.
That's how it was then, and it will be again. Read.
How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant?
Read that part again and say, read that part again, and how what?
How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?
So, give me that. It says, how then? So, what happened?
Right.
What happened?
That's the question, Cap.
We was good. We had good neighborhoods and communities. We had good. We was doing the best we could, but we was helping one another. What happened to that? What befell us? Where did we go wrong at? We was doing it right. What happened? Put the eugenics tree up there too. Because they came at us in a lot of different ways.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They came at us
a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. And so what happened was that when they came for us, we wasn't prepared for it. You know what I mean? Just like when we had to integrate with them.
I got a script for you too. You said we weren't prepared for it, right?
Right.
I'll let you finish making your point though.
But that's what it was though. Even when we was, I think somebody asked me, said, Cap, what I was said, what was it like when you went in the school? The students weren't ready. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a little shock. You know what I mean? While we with them, you know what I mean? I know a lot of things going through the kids' head. We're not gonna go back to Carr Elementary. That was the school. We were like, we can't go back. And I know many of them wanted to go back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm gonna give you a prime example. We was wearing hand-me-downs, and they was wearing store-bought. You know what I'm saying? And we was looking at ourselves, hell, I got cardboard in the bottom of my shoe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Already altering the mindset.
Right.
Just off of looks, just off of appearance, it's already altering the mindset. Because if you in the school at first and it's your community, it's your people, it's the people you grew up with, y'all all in the same boat. Y'all all got the same problems going on. Then all of a sudden you got that shift. You got these other nations, or let's just call it what it is, so-called white man Esau coming to the schools, or you going to their schools, and you see a difference in their appearance.
Right.
Now you start to emulate them or want to be like them, or, you know what I mean, you want to catch up to the Joneses, you know what I mean?
You touched on something, officer. You got to imagine, like, even the learning part of it, it was a learning curve. You know what I mean? The teachers that we had, they would read something to us, and they would quote like we do the Bible. We would break it down. They would break it down to us. There they read the words to and stuff like that. If you knew it, you knew it. If you didn't, you didn't. You got stuck. You know what I mean?
Right.
And those was just
that was the plan.
Yeah, that was yeah.
You mean when you went to the Esau school? Yeah, that was the plan. Can I bring that script out?
Go ahead. Go right here.
Let's get Psalm 64.
Because something happened. What changed?
Right. Yeah, bring that out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64.
Start with 2.
Verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
So you said something happened. It was secret. You said we didn't know nothing about it, huh, Cap? We didn't know. You said we wasn't privy of it, right?
Yeah, you know, when they was integrating the school.
Can you read that part again? Read verse 2 again.
Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
Because it was a secret counsel.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't supposed to know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It was something they got together and conjured up. He said, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Read.
From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
Because all this man do is work iniquity. All this man do is work sin. Okay? Read.
Who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
So that school integration, that was an arrow that was shot.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Read on.
That they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
Because we was on our level then.
Right.
Okay, so they said, "No, they doing good." No,
They've been sufficient.
It's
They've been
self-sufficient.
self-reliant.
Okay, they got their own things. Okay, you know, back in those days when Martin Luther King was living, we had our own.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then when we couldn't sit on their bus, he shut it down. You know what I'm saying? What they do? They boycotted their buses.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And it affected this man. You see what I'm saying? So read on.
That they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
So that's all I want on that. But like you say, if something happened and it was in secret. Go ahead, Cap.
No,
so Cap, that's what you're going into. You going into what happened,
right?
And also, you brought it up. Is these wicked devices that what happened? Just like you seen in that video that we were watching with the sisters sitting around and Esau hosting it. You know what I mean? He actually really what he was doing was surveying them to make sure that wicked device was in effect, and it is in effect. And I want to play that.
Because he don't give a damn.
Hey, give me that. Right, give me that second video I'll put up. And it's going into what happened. I just want to touch on one aspect of what happened in our community.
That was just like a science project to him. That's all that was. He didn't care.
You know what I mean? What happened in our communities that we fallen the way that we are? I want the second one. Go down. You was there. Go back. I want the second one I posted. Right there. There you go.
And this is an arrow. This is an arrow being shot right here.
Yes,
right.
It is.
Right. This is the device. So we all know who this is. This man's been in the news for quite a little minute right now. His name is Dwayne Wade. I just wanted to touch on one of the aspects of what happened because we heard in the first video that we were watching, we had leaders. The men was leading. They was going to work. They was doing what they had to do. They was structured in their communities. So what happened? What wicked devices happened to see the state of our people right now? Go ahead and play that video.
Bring it out.
There was this video of Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union that really caught my attention. And as a man, as a alpha male who is definitely love masculinity, every sense of the word masculinity, I want you brothers to hear this video. And we got to talk a little bit because, you know, I've been silent for some years. I've been sitting here and say, okay, let me see what the new brothers is going to do with
you hear what he said?
mindset.
Just pause it real quick. You hear what he said? The new, in quotations, the new brothers, meaning they have went away from what we were just watching before, Cap, in the early or the late in 59. 1959 and all that. We have winners. So now you want to see the new brothers, 2021 brothers. What they about? Go ahead, bring it out.
What the new brothers is going to do with their mindset, not just to sound like the old school brother, but what I'm seeing and hearing. Let's roll that clip.
Relationships, you know, we come in and we try to change people. We try to change them to the way that we want them to be. But I decided to start taking a different approach, you know, in this relationship. I think early on I came in like, hey, you get 2 drink max, bop. And she didn't respond well to that.
No, it did not.
It was reasons for that too. Let me say that.
I have a good time. Life of the party right here.
It's not the man leads and the woman follows. That's not what we live in this house, you know, at all. So for me,
What?
I have a wife that works just.
And look at her face.
Not
That's the same. Pause it. That's the same face that them sisters had on in that video that you played, Cap. That's that same face right there.
So
and
this a
she
product.
right. This is a product right here. And she talking. She got that face on like, yeah, you better talk that. You know you're not leading.
Well, you damn
I
right.
already had you tried to lead at first with the 2-drink minimum and all that. I shut that down. I'm
broke you.
Right. I'm gonna shut everything else down. You know what I mean? Go ahead, play on. Well, hold on. He said, I want to try a different route, and I'm not gonna lead. Is that scripture?
No.
Let's see what the scriptures say. Let's start with Ephesians. Give me 5 verse 23. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 23. And that's the problem. That's why we up here on this radio show, the Bible, the book of our fathers, bringing out the solutions to our people to come back to fix the community. To fix the unity that we once had. We don't have these things because we don't have structure like the gentleman was talking about in the first video. We have lost our structure. Let's come back. Stop chasing after these women, being underneath them. Put your foot down. Be a man. Go ahead, read that.
Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves.
I said verse 23. Verse
23. For the husband is the head of the wife.
The what?
The husband is the head of the wife.
So what are these? What is this new age man talking about? He talking about I'm not going to lead the house.
New brothers.
Right, the new brothers. He a new brother. He a new simp. That's what we got going on right now. A new simp. Look at his face. Y'all can't even see the video right now, but he got the simp face on right now. Go ahead, read us.
Even as Christ is the head of the church.
Oh, start from the beginning.
For the husband is the head of the wife. Even as Christ is the head of the church. And he is the savior of the body.
So the man is supposed to be the head of the household, the savior of the household. He's supposed to be guiding and leading the house, but not these new age brothers. Go ahead and play the video, please.
I have a wife that works just not just as hard, harder than I.
Look, he got his head up her butt, man. Yeah, you work too. She worked. Not just as hard. She works even harder. Go ahead. Keep. I ain't gonna keep interrupting. Go ahead.
Before I came along, so from my perspective, it was like, okay, how can I be a part of the growth and the evolution of who she is, and not trying to change her or stunt her growth or make her in the way.
No, stop. Get Genesis chapter 3 verse what's that? 16. He said, "How can I help her?" And don't get me twisted. What I'm saying, you know what I mean? Y'all a unit, y'all a family. Y'all supposed to build together. But he got this scripture mixed around. That's the point that I'm bringing out. He got Genesis chapter 3 verse 16 mixed. Go ahead, read it.
Genesis chapter 3 verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
Read on.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
So the wife's desire shall be to thy husband. Not the husband desire be to the wife. That's not what the scriptures say. So again, we're going into what happened. What happened? This is a form of what happened. When we watched in that video, the second video Cat played with the sisters sitting around, and Esau surveying our people to make sure that their devices is working. What is he basically going into? He gave them WIC and what's that other stuff? Not child support, welfare. You know what I mean? And when you got all of these things, that means the man has to be out of the house, which is going to do what? Create leaders. That video was in 1986. Gabrielle, I'm pretty sure she was probably born around that. So that means you're right. That means the mothers that we watched earlier, you see her right there. You see the product of that right there. That's her. That's her. And he following that thing. Go ahead. Also,
let me bring one script out. Jeremiah 31:22, because something happened, and this just didn't come out of osmosis. Okay, it was somebody behind this thing. Okay, when the Lord say, when we read the script, read that script real quick.
Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
Well, man start following the woman. Okay, so it didn't just come out of osmosis. Okay, the Lord allowed our enemies to do His secret counsel, and now when you look at the product of the secret counsel He's done, where you got a man following a woman nowadays. Okay, so it would behoove us to get our households back in order and come back to the Lord.
Right. So again, I don't want to take a whole thing, so I'm gonna jump. Let's jump to play. Just play a little bit. Let me just see what else he say. What else he say?
He ain't saying that.
Right. You absolutely right. He ain't saying a damn thing. Go ahead. Play the video.
I see fit.
That video was so cringe worthy.
It was.
Just as a man. Now, prior to this clip, I'll say that I have been silent for a few years.
All right, jump. We're gonna jump to 725.
So
jump to 725 because again, I don't want to hold up the show. So jump to 725. Let's go ahead and play from there. Again, we're going into what happened. Go ahead, play.
Saying men that got resources don't go live in no woman's house. He's not gonna go take no cell phone from no woman. He's not gonna be driving her car. He don't need crap from her.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna put himself in a position where she can put you out. He's not gonna do that. He's not gonna go. A man not gonna live in a woman's house.
Right.
And then when she get mad, she can put you out. I said no.
So stop right there. What is he describing? He's describing a leader. If you going and moving into a woman's house, now I know Dwayne Wade got it or whatever the case may be, but as a community, our people don't have it. You know what I mean? So our people, they move into these sisters' houses, and then it gives them what? It gives them the sisters the opportunity to continue to have, like also EL was bringing out, to have that control or can pass a man. That's what it continues to do. Give me 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 12. This is the problem. Again, this is the problem. This is what has been created. This is what's separating us from God, like it says in Isaiah chapter 59 verse 2.
1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 12.
These are the things that was brought up in the lab, created in the lab. Go ahead, read.
But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence.
So what I wanted is that the scriptures say not to usurp authority over the man. Well, she clearly don't even have to usurp authority. He's freely giving it away. He is freely giving it away. And what does that...
Like a sucker.
Like a sucker, like a simp. So what does that create? Now let's get the first video I had put up. Let's see what it creates. So his mindset and her mindset combined together creates the video that we're about to watch right now.
Bring it out. The product.
The product. Let's watch the product. Come on, brothers.
Now to that powerful message from basketball legend Dwayne Wade, opening up about the moment his 12-year-old came out to him and wife Gabrielle Union as transgender. TJ Holmes is here with this story. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning. And Dwayne Wade's oldest son is a big-time high school basketball player. We've seen video of him over the years on the sideline rooting for his kid. Well, what you don't know and some don't realize is that he has also very publicly been rooting for and cheerleading for another of his kids. His second oldest, who we've known as Zion over the years, is now Zaya. And D. Wade is being given credit for giving a master class in how to support your LGBTQ plus child. Former NBA superstar Dwayne Wade now sharing the moment his 12-year-old came out to him as transgender.
I don't know if everyone knows, originally named Zion born as a boy, came home and said, hey, so I want to talk to you guys. I think going forward, I'm ready to live my truth. And I want to be referenced as she and her. I would love for you guys to call me Zaya.
Zaya has received strong support from Wade and his wife, Gabrielle Union, including firing back at what they called social media hate from people who
Stop right there real quick. You know why Zion is getting full support? Because of the first video that we watched, and he's letting her, he gave her the lead. That's what that creates. That's what that create right there. Instead of him giving Zion the laws of God and the knowledge of God so that he can be prosperous, instead he gives him death.
Death.
Because he's following after the woman. That's the problem. That's what had been created right there. Let me get one scripture. I'm gonna wrap it up. Let's get 1 Maccabees 2:64, and I'll wrap it up.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2. And verse 64.
So this is what Dwayne Wade should have been giving Zion. instead of pillow talking with his wife and letting her lead the way, because I'm pretty sure she was over here giving him the instructions on how they should move. You know what I mean? He already gave her the lead. Why wouldn't she take the lead and be like, "Hey, this is what we got to do to make sure that Zion is comfortable and as a she"? Go ahead, read that.
Wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law.
Show yourself what?
Men in the behalf of the law.
So if Dwayne Wade would have been given Zion the law, he would have been able to show his son how to be a man and not a woman.
For by it shall ye obtain glory.
And by the laws, you will obtain glory. You got women fingernails on.
I got.
Go ahead,
Cal.
I'm done.
All right, give me that in 2 Timothy 3:1.
2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1.
Yes, sir.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop.
No. I'm sorry.
2 Timothy.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves.
That's what you have here. That's what you have here. Let's hold that. I got something to go with that. Let's go into Romans. Now remember, he said that men should be lovers of their own self. One, and pick it up at. We come back. Hold that spot. 125. 21.
Romans chapter 1 verse 21.
Uh-huh.
Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God.
Right. They know that they are doing wrong. They know they're off. That's why it says that they became lovers of themselves. That's what it's talking about. They're going off. They're going off. Read on.
Neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations.
I can, listen, call me her. Call me a she. They're going off.
Right. What do a 12-year-old child coming downstairs to tell you about?
He was supposed to be beat back up the stairs.
Refer to me as a woman. Come on, 12-year-old child. Come on.
Right. He doesn't even know how a 16-year-old boy feels. How is he supposed to know how an adult woman feels? That's what he think he is now.
It don't make no sense.
Because what we're going into is that what has happened, and I'm telling you, these young men, these kids, it says, okay, finish that.
But became vain in their imaginations.
Uh-huh.
And their foolish heart was darkened.
And they're in much sin. Let's go back to
2 Timothy chapter 3,
yes,
verse 2.
Uh-huh.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud.
These are all the spirits that they have on them.
Mm-hmm.
These are when we get to the next video, I want to show you what has happened, what it does when you don't follow the Most High. You're going to see clearly there's a problem that's going on, because I'm telling you, what we was talking about, family matters, seem like it doesn't now. But thank the Most High, there's a spirit that's in the earth. There's a rebuilding of the nation of Israel. Read on.
Blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful.
That's what we had earlier. Read on.
Unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good.
Uh-huh.
Fierce.
Those that keep the law. Read on.
Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness.
And they think they can go into they goes into these so-called Babylonian churches. Read on.
But denying the power thereof.
That they called a man. They don't want to be the man that they're supposed to be. They're called to be a woman. They don't want to be the woman that they're supposed to be on that level. Read on.
From such turn away.
Hold that. Fast forward to me right quick. Let me get this video up. If you would, get that one video up. Bring them up. Let me see the one I want. I want the one that talking about family marriages in the let's see where you at.
Hey, Cap,
go back the other way.
While you find it real quick,
can
I get one more script?
Yeah,
one more.
Go ahead.
Give me 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse,
that is right there,
verse 3.
Uh-huh.
1 Timothy 3, verse 4 and 5.
No, go back up.
1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 4.
Because this is the way
right there,
Dwayne Wade should have been conducting himself with his son. Go ahead, read on.
One that ruleth well his own house.
This is the way that he's supposed to be. I meant to pull this one, I forgot. But read again.
One that ruleth well his own house.
Dwayne Wade is not ruling his house well. He's supposed to be ruling his house well, meaning he's going to conduct himself as the knowledge of God or the laws of God. Read on.
Having his children in subjection.
That's what I want. Having what?
Children in subjection with all gravity.
With all seriousness. He's supposed to be having his children in subjection with all seriousness. Just like OCEL was when he came downstairs talking about him downstairs or whatever the case with milk and cookies and all of that. he should have beat his tail right back up them steps.
Right.
Take off your mama's shoes. Right. Take them nails off. Take that wig off. What the hell wrong with you?
What you say?
You're right. He should have read that last part again.
Having his children in subjection with all gravity.
And that's the problem with our people. They refuse to keep the commandments of God, and that's why you see our communities and our people messed up the way that they are. Go ahead, Cap.
Yeah, this video right here, to add to what Officer's bringing out, bring it up. Also, I want you to read. I want you to read that part right there. Get the title. Get the title. Please get the title.
The state of American households, smaller, more diverse, and unmarried.
Now, the state. Listen, and unmarried. Don't leave that word out. Now, get the bottom of that. Go back right there. You see the bottom of that? Come down a little bit.
The picture.
Come back. Get the picture. Yeah, thank you. Go back to the picture.
Up to the picture. Right
yeah,
there.
I just right up under the picture. It's right there. Thank you.
Ooh.
Now, remember, we was talking about the 60s, right? And in the 60s, it said there was 78% of black men and women were married. 60% in 1960. They talk about this. They used this number.
I thought it said 78%.
78%. I'm sorry. 78%. They used that 78%. You're right. They used that 78% in the 60s, and they're going to use that same number in the story in 2020. It still applies. They're going to use that same 78%. Read that.
The U.S. Census Bureau might not track data specifically about love. Scroll down.
Come on, y'all.
But it does have a trove of information on relationships, and those relationships illustrate the changing nature of the American family, and with it, the nation. Decades of data show how American families are changing from decreasing share of married households to a growing share of people living on their own.
Now, understand this. As they tell the story, they're talking about us. And the proof is going to be shown that they're talking about us. So, read on, officer.
The growing trend of living unmarried and alone affects several aspects of American life. For example, it impacts households' income as more households have just a single earner. It impacts health coverage as fewer Americans marry and potentially gain access to their spouse's health insurance. And it could alter future elections as certain demographics grow.
Hold right there.
What is the state of marriage in America? In 1949, 78.8% of all households contained married couples.
That's the whole thing. We was holding our own. When we was together as a nation of people, we was doing right by ourselves. We was building the nation of Israel on that smaller level, meaning that we had structure, we had discipline. You know what I mean? We had a love for our own people.
Right.
Can I say something about this, Cap? I don't want you to lose your point, but when you look at this, it says in 1949, 78.8% of all households contained married couples.
The man and the woman. Let's clear that up.
Man and the woman. 70 years later, 48.2% of households had married couples. What you got to gain out of this is that's in secret council.
Right.
Yes.
They are watching us. They're making sure that their plan going according to plan. Okay? And the ones who can pick up on it, of course us, but Esau is picking up on this. Okay, our people are not paying attention to this if their eyes haven't been open. But this is how they communicate with each other. okay, through the statistics. Okay, they're showing this, and they're able. Oh, we got them. Okay, our plan has worked, and it's continuing to work. We got them right where we want them. This is how they communicate. Go ahead.
But it goes back to the point that we have to understand that we had a foundation. We had the structure that allowed us to thrive as a people. Those elements, we have to bring them back to us with the laws of God. That's what it is. There's a chastening going on among our people, and now we're being corrected. But the ways and how we got here, we're able to redeem ourselves with the will of the Most High. He's guiding, He's ordering our steps. We have great leadership that's able to guide us. So we have things in place. But what has happened here is that we have to come out of this madness, this mindset, and this matrix that they have put on our people. Scroll on down to the next chart. Go to the next chart. All right. The average age, that's okay. But keep it moving. Hold right there. This is the percentage of women currently married.
Can you get the year? Does it show the year?
Hold right there. You got Asian women are married. You got the white woman. All women. Hispanic, and then there's the black woman.
Wow. She all the way down there.
On the bottom. How we on the bottom, sisters? Because what the girl said earlier, it's too much trouble or something.
Too much responsibility.
Too much responsibility.
The one sister says she don't want no man holding her down. And that's why you got the results.
Hell, she holding her down.
Right. That's why you got the results that you got right now. Since 1960 to 2000, you have plummeted into the abyss of nothingness.
Talking about, out there coming in the house. What you got there? Come on, Twixie. You and the little dog going into the house. You all by your damn self.
Right. You and the dog.
Right. Yeah.
Solo dolo.
Yeah. Need the husband. Need somebody to guide your tail. Need somebody to help you. Need help with the children. One girl said, I can do it by myself. What'd she say?
She can do it by
herself. She said, I can do it by myself. I don't want no man holding me down.
But that's the thing.
Too much responsibility.
You're not doing it by yourself. Either you're going to have a black man helping you out, or you're going to have a white man
got Esau helping
That's what
you.
that wick is. That's what that welfare is. It's going to be a man over you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what these sisters need to understand.
Esau inside your house without being inside your house. Damn.
In your bed.
He there.
I tell you what, keep going. There's another part of that hole right there. This is the percentage of men currently married. Let's see where the black man rank at.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. Let's see where he is.
Yeah,
Let's see how he's doing.
That black man, all the way at the bottom. That's that video that we was watching earlier. That black man. That's him right there, all the way at the bottom.
On the bottom. What? This is what we're talking about. That's why family does matter, Israel. It matters. You talking about you trying to get yourself together. I mean, it just don't make no sense. It don't. Here it is. You showing us, you telling us as a people that you don't really care about the family structure that God said He loves. He put this in place for us. He's about family. And for our people to be on this mindset, to be on this level, don't make no sense. There's more. Go ahead. Hold right there. The percentage of women never married. Now the black woman want to be on top.
She on top of that thing.
Now she want to be on top.
Never married.
She
never
leading the
been
race
married.
on that.
By a steep margin.
Blowing everybody out.
These are all negative statistics, and you are all the way at the top. The black family, or not even family, the black people are all the way at the top of these negative statistics.
Look at the
or
Asian
bottom,
woman.
however
Look at the
you're
Asian
looking at
woman.
it.
Scroll up a little bit. Let's get the actual numbers. Let's read these actual.
Talking to the mic.
Hey, let's read these numbers real quick. I mean, let's just really paint the picture. What does it say? It says the number of Americans choosing not to marry increased during the same time. In 2019, 35% of men and 30% of women had never been married. In 1990, 30% of men and 23% of women had never been married. So this letting you know that this giving you the chart right there. And every single chart is Israel and everybody else. It's letting you know they painting the picture for you. Israel and everybody else. We at the bottom.
Give me the next chart.
Officer Nashawn said something I want to touch on a moment ago, but when we get a moment.
Okay. Hold on. Let's get my beloved brother.
Oh.
Percentage of men never married. We win in that one too, Israel. That's the thing that we have to understand is that family matters. Listen, how you going about it? You being by yourself, alone at home, that was a movie. It's not, you're not supposed to do that in real life. Right. Home alone.
Read the paragraph up there.
Right.
The shift is particularly noticeable among black and Hispanic people.
Israel.
In 1990, 43% of black men had never been married. In 2019, it was 51%. During that period, the percent of black women who are unmarried increased from 37 to 47%. For Hispanic women, it increased from 27% to 37%. The percent of Hispanic men who are unmarried increased from 37% to 45%.
So now let's go back to Jeremiah 2 and 21 again.
Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 21.
Uh-huh.
Yet I had planted thee a noble vine.
In the beginning, we had things right. We understood what we're supposed to do. We understood our relationship, our responsibility as a nation of people. Read.
Holy, a right seed.
And we done things right the best we could, but we had a standard. We had a template. We had a guide. We understood with that what we had, whatsoever things that were just or pure and holy. We thought on those things. It's right to marry this woman, not to leave my children without a father. We took on those responsibilities. We didn't forsake our families, Israel. Read on.
How then art thou turned?
How then? How did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
How did we get here, Israel? Yes, they came in, but we still are liable. We still are got to give them accountable. You still are, you know, talking about I got 3 kids. Well, where they at? Where they with their mamas? You still liable for your own children. You still got to help them. It don't give you a way out like that brother said on the video over there. Yeah. Hey, that's their kids. No, that's your child, man. What's wrong with you? That's not how we do. Are you done with that?
How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?
So how did we get to this place where we don't even want to marry our own people? That don't make sense. We're not trying to establish ourselves as we ought to. Give me that in Proverbs. Let me see something. I got something over here I want to bring out. Proverbs 18:22.
Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22.
Uh-huh.
Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
That's what you have to be about. We have to be about establishing our unions. We have to go back and get some of the things that has caused us to be a strong, knitted community where we had things that worked for us. Those are things have to be applied today along with the laws of the Most High by us abiding in the works of the Most High, in works and in deeds. We got to do them, Israel. We have to be that people. It doesn't make no sense how we're doing it. That right there does not show who we are. That's a disobedient. We don't know who's these people. We don't know them. Yes, that's our people. But my point is that how we have fallen. We can't blame everything on them. Don't make no sense.
That's a good point. And sometimes we got to say, hey, we got to take account of our own actions. We got to come back to the laws of God, okay?
Right.
And do the things how it's supposed to be done.
Read that again from the top, officer.
Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good
That's
thing.
what you're supposed to be doing, establishing the family unit. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's how you build a nation. Is that all that?
And obtaineth favor of the Lord.
Then God is pleased with you. Give me 13 and 4 Hebrews.
Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4.
Uh-huh.
Marriage is honorable in
That's
all.
what God likes. It just said that it's honorable with the Lord. Now marriage is telling you that we have to do it the right way. We can't get away. We can't go crooked ways. It don't work for us. That's judgment on us. Here's the reason why. Read on.
And the bed undefiled.
Uh-huh.
But whoremongers.
But when you don't do it right,
and adulterers, God will judge.
That's a different judgment when you do that. That's what we have to understand. We have to do things right. We held to a higher standard. Give me that also in Matthew 19 and 4.
Matthew chapter 19 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?
He had a family already established. He already had a husband and a wife. He already had a man and a woman. Read.
And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother.
If you decide to get a wife, if a man find a wife, he find a good thing, you can establish yourself, get yourself ready to receive the woman, and you can have children with her. Read on.
Right.
And shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh.
You can have 7 or 8 kids if you want to. It's okay. Read.
Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh.
Now they're a family unit. They're helping build the nation. Give me that also in Sirach 26 and 14. And she shouldn't be any kind of woman. It's a woman that you should just go out and try to prove and bring her to your house. And hopefully she will be a woman after thy own mind.
Ecclesiastica Sirach, chapter 26, verse 14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord.
That's what you want her to be. You want her to be a woman that's going to keep God's commandments. It's going to keep God's laws because the two are one, because they agree on the same things. I'm telling you, it makes a big difference. When you out here dealing with a sister and you trying to prove her, give me that. Let me see something. Give me 1 Timothy, well, we read that, but read it again. 1 Timothy 5 and 14.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5 and verse 14. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Read it from the top again, I'm sorry.
I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house.
Right, because it should be that that's the case, that things are done right in decency and in order. I wanted to touch on those few precepts. If you got one, go ahead and bring it out, officer, if you want one.
I got something.
Okay.
Hey, I posted up a picture. Y'all can pull that picture up for me that I posted, and then get me Acts chapter 4. What do I got? Acts 4 and 34. Put that picture up for everybody. Come on, put the picture up. All right. It says when we lose our fear, they lose their power. So I want to pose a question real quick. What do y'all see here? I'm gonna tell y'all what I see. I see black and brown people coming together, family structure. Besides the woman out in the front, y'all neglect that. But read that scripture that I got.
Acts chapter 4 verse 34. Neither was there any among them that lacked. For as many as were possessors of land or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet. And distribution was made unto every man according as he had need.
So the point that I wanted is that what we seen in the photo was a community coming together, helping one another. Like we spoke about earlier, you can go to the neighbor next door, get sugar from them, get bread from them, whatever the case may be, helping each other out. All right, and that type of mindset is what's going to make the enemy upset. This is what they're trying to stop. Remember the wicked devices? They're putting that out there so they can stop our people from seeing what we see in this photo. It says when we lose our fear, they lose their power. When we lose the fear of what? Telling the truth of how we should raise our kids. Our kids should not be part of the LGBT, the alphabet team and all of that. Right. They should not be that. They should not be going against their parents. They should not be selfish. They should learn how to work and take care of their family. They should marry their women, their wives. All right, give me Psalms 85 and verse 11. Go ahead, Psalms chapter 85, verse 11. They get Revelations 12 and 17, and I'll be done.
Psalms chapter 85, verse 11.
Truth
shall spring out of the earth.
And that's the solution right now. Truth. The laws of God is springing out of the earth. That's why you see us out here right now, Israel United in Christ, on every street corner, everywhere, across seas. Truth is springing out of the earth. Why? Because we're tired of the conditions of our people, and we want to change the conditions of our community, like it says in 1 Maccabees 3 and 43. Go ahead, read on.
And righteousness shall look down from heaven.
And the laws is going to look down from heaven. Get Revelations 12 and 17.
Revelations chapter 12 verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
So now that we're out here, we're out here speaking truth. We're telling the people that how to take care of their families, how to marry their women, and not to abort their children. We're telling them truth. It's going against everything that they've been pushing in our community since the 1960s and before. All right, and that's why they're wroth. It said what? Read it again.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
So Esau was wroth with Israel because now the prophets are back. Now the prophets are back telling the truth to the people, and they can't stand that thing. Go ahead, read on.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
And they're making war with the remnant of our seed. They're making war by putting drugs in our community. They're making war by giving us poor education. They're making war by putting the woman in lead of the man. All right, was that it?
Which keep the commandments of God.
Which keep the commandments of God. So when we lose our fear, meaning when we're ready to only fear God and not the other nations, when we lose our fear, guess what? They're going to lose their power.
That's right.
We're going to get our power back, and the only way you're going to get your power back is by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. And that's it.
Oh, praise him. That thing's smoking. Hey. Let me get to Rock 25 and 1.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25 and verse 1. In 3 things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before God and men. The unity of brethren.
That community like we just brought out. The unity of brethren, brothers and sisters, building the community, helping each other. Read on.
The love of neighbors.
The love of neighbors. Your people, not Esau. Your people. Read.
Right.
A man and a wife.
A what?
A man and a wife that agree together.
That agree together. How do they agree together? She realized that he the head. She realized she got to follow him. That's how you agree together. Absolutely. And he realized he got to take care of her and not put a baby in her and just leave. That's it. Go ahead, Cap.
Ephesians 5 again.
Bring it out.
Ephesians chapter 5.
Is it 30? Let me see.
You want 20,
no, I want 23,
22, 23?
No. I want 5. Get me started. 20. 28. Start 28.
Ephesians chapter 5 verse 28. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies.
Right, because Christ was saying that, and the two should become one flesh. That's why back they had 78% of the family unit that was in place in the 60s. 78%. It was shown because they realized their responsibility. That I dealt with the sister. I'm gonna marry the sister. We're gonna come together and we're gonna build. That's the mindset that they had. We have to have that mindset. Read on.
He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
And that's what it goes about. And the two shall become one flesh. Read.
For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it.
So your wife, you shouldn't have no hatred for her because you don't have no hatred for yourself. You shouldn't have that mindset. Read on.
Even as the Lord the church.
Read.
For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh.
And give me verse 33.
Verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband.
And that's the place. That's the order. That's going back to the order right there.
That's right.
And so Dwayne Wade, he all out of order.
Right.
His whole house out of order. That's the order right there. Make sure that she understands that she's supposed to reverence her husband. Give me, go back to Sirach 37 and 12.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 37 and verse 12. But be continually with a godly man.
So even sisters and brothers in Israel, when you come together and you begin to establish yourself, the Bible says, be continued with a godly man. Begin to see the brother is putting in work. Begin to see if the sister's laboring in the body. Read on.
Whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord.
That's how you know. You begin to see their works. You can see them doing what they're supposed to do. Over a period of time, you begin to see that they're putting forth the works that they're commanded to do. You can look. You can see it says that whom thou knowest. What are they doing? To do good. To keep the whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. You see that they're doing the good works of the Most High. You're starting to see him. So as you prove a person, that's what it's going into, whom thou knowest, whom thou begin to prove that what? That to keep the commandments of the Lord. Read on.
Whose mind is according to thy mind.
Now he's able to judge her on and be able to see that she's about this work. And she's doing it based on he's doing it, she's doing it, and the two shall become one flesh because they both mind the same thing. Read on.
And will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
And when you go through trials or tribulations, they'll be there for you during those times. And you got something you want to bring out, Officer?
Yes, sir. I have a book here, Officer Cosdale, King Cos, y'all know him. Pull up that, go to the article with the charts on it, and then scroll back up to the picture at the top. Officer Nashan posed a question. He made a statement. Esau is in the house if the Israelite man, your husband is not your head, if you don't have a husband, and if your mind is not your mind is not inclined to be towards godly men, be with godly men, be headed by godly men, like the leadership of IUIC. Go scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Then Esau is in the house without being in the house. That's what you said, officer?
Yes, sir. That's what
scroll
I said.
Scroll up. Picture. It's a picture. It's a picture. Up that. Now, we were in Revelations, right? I have a book right quick. So show that picture. No, show the picture of the article first. So show that. Now Esau's in the house. Now you see them screens, right? You see them portals of media. You see them mouths, so to speak, as to which Esau would be able to communicate through, showing the images of what? Single-parent households, the womanist movement, the messages of the doctrine of the serpent, which our women still want to adhere to according to the things that they've been taught about not having a man in the house.
Right.
The things that they've been taught about not reverencing the husband. The things that they've been taught about not doing what the scriptures say. Now, go to that page. Now go to the page. Revelations chapter 12, verse 15. I'll read it.
Don't worry, I got it. I got you.
Okay, thank you, officer.
Revelations chapter 12 and verse 15. And the serpent cast out his mouth, water as a flood after the woman.
Water as a flood. So the woman is us, the Israelites, right? The serpent is the devil. So the deceiver, the same way he did in Genesis, he wanted to deceive our people. So what is he using now? He's using a flood of what? Media. Out of his mouth. A mouth is used to communicate. Communicate what? To us, not the truth.
Right.
Earlier, officer brought out that the earth would help the woman. That's what verse 16 says. The earth will open up. The truth will come out. But instead of our people getting the truth, the serpent is trying to give them lies. Read that part again.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Right. Communications and propaganda like a flood out of his media. Right? Read on.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
That he might cause the Israelite woman to be caught up in the lies that were actually not for her help, but for her destruction. So open up this page, right? Show them this. This is from a book called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Dr. Robert B. Cialdini. So it says, in fact, studies done on the contrast principle at Arizona State and Montana State University suggest that we may be less satisfied with the physical attractiveness of our own lovers because of the way the popular media, what was Revelations talking about, the media,
right,
bombard us with examples of unrealistically attractive models.
Wow.
So this is an example of just one thing that the media can do to us. It can put the most idealistic or unrealistic man in front of the Israelite woman, so she look at you, she see you as nothing, or put an Edomite man in front of you, in front of her, like the show Scandal.
Mm-hmm.
So she look at you, she said, well, I'm not attracted to that. The media can be used, that's what this book is all about, to persuade the minds of the people, not for righteousness, but to have them be swept away like the flood of media coming out of the serpent's mouth.
That's right.
I was heavy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good point, officer.
You know, we want to thank you, though, Israel, and just put out that, you know, being here with, you know, the Bible Book of Our Fathers, we take the opportunity to let you know we appreciate the support that y'all are helping Israel with,
right,
and the work that's been going forward. It's very humbling for us to know that people are really helping us to establish our nations, and to us, you know, it does matter. Family does matter to us, and so we want to let y'all know tonight. It does matter. We want to let you know that, you know, we care, about the work that's being brought forth. And with that, Officer Nashawn.
Yes, sir. Don't neglect to give alms. For those who would like to give alms, fill out an envelope in your local congregations. Please place it in an alms box. To give alms online, donate to IUIC Concord. Via PayPal. If you want to give alms on PayPal, give at iuic.concord.nc at israelunite.org. Also, don't forget to give to the Booster Club so we can continue to travel. All right, that'll be iuic.fundraising at israelunite.org.
Hey, Israel. There again, we thank you for being with us this week on the radio show, The Bible, the Book of Our Fathers. We're glad to have you, and there again, hopefully that we're able to edify, bring something forth that would help build up the nation. And that's what we're about, just doing it in righteousness. That's what we're about, just establishing it and going forth and doing the Most High's will. With that, I'm Captain Descartes. Much love to you, Israel. I say happy Sabbath to you all.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath, Israel. Shalom.
Shalom. Most High Christ bless.